most important player in Game 2?
Just Trae Young, just like he was in Game 1. Let me remind everybody, 48 points and 11 assists. Let me remind everybody, cat quick with passing ability, and he can shoot long-range shots. At a 34% clip, ain't the greatest, but he still makes them when they count. Oh, by the way, he's a magician at drawing fouls, which puts defenses on its heels because they're scared they're going to get in foul trouble. Oh, by the way, he makes you change your game plan because you got to go small. Because you can't have somebody like Brook Lopez in the game because Trae Young will put him in pick-and-roll situations, forcing him to even come out and guard him, which he won't do because he's too slow for that, okay? Or, peek or tease like he's going out, but opening the floor up for an alley-oop to Clint Capella or John Collins. This is the bottom line. When you look at Trae Young, I said it before the series began, even though I picked the Milwaukee Bucks. Trae Young is the key. He cannot be spectacular. If he is spectacular, he's their only hope. If Trae Young is spectacular, Atlanta wins this series. I'm counting on him not doing in Game 1, not doing the rest of the series, rather, what he did in Game 1. Because if that happens, Atlanta's going to the NBA Finals. You've got to find a way to neutralize Trae Young. Jrue Holiday, you can't try to get in a shootout with him. You can't try to score 40 just because you know he putting up buckets. You got to remember, you're there because you're the all-defensive team, first team all-defensive NBA. That's your job. Chris Middleton, excuse me, I thought you were a secondary option. Damn, we ain't asking you to be James Harden or Kyrie Irving, but could you at least be Chris Middleton as opposed to an imposter? Show the hell up. I mean, my God, you do have skills. You're about 6'8". You got a mid-range game. You can handle, you can shoot, you can score. Why don't you act like it? Because the Milwaukee Bucks are going to need that from him because Giannis in his perimeter game can't be relied upon late in the game. That's going to have to be Chris Middleton.
So, but your answer is Trae Young, right?
Trae Young. Trae Young is the priority. Most important player.
Okay. Because you ended, your natural flow of your thoughts brought you eventually to the right place, which is the answer is Chris Middleton. And the reason it's Chris Middleton is because he's not a superstar. Trae Young is a superstar. We all agree now, certainly a top 15 player in the NBA. That guy you can rely on to be great. That's why he's a superstar. Same thing with Giannis. Giannis gave you what? Was it 34, 12 and something Game 1? Even when Giannis is bad, he's still putting up star numbers. That's why Giannis and Trae are superstars, because they're reliably productive. When we think they're not productive, it's at a certain level. Well, he scored 24 points and grabbed 10 boards, but he was inefficient, right? They can be relied on. But the reason I thought the Bucks would win this series is as much as people in Milwaukee like to tell me that they have a big three, they do not, because these guys are not consistently great, Middleton and Jrue Holiday. I did think that given the absence of a team like the Nets with Kyrie and Harden, they didn't have those guys available, that actually the Bucks would have in this series the third best player, Middleton. So Giannis would have the best help. He'd have the best crime partner. Middleton went 0 for 9 from 3 in Game 1. They lost by 1 possession, Stephen A. And you could talk about Jrue Holiday's defense. He wasn't getting a lot of help, but he was scoring. But that's the issue with Middleton and Holiday. They're usually good and sometimes excellent, but they're not usually excellent. If they're great. If they were usually great, they would be perennial all-stars. Chris Middleton in the regular season, Stephen A, takes 5 or 6 threes a game, hits over 40% of them, hits like 90% of his free throws, gets to the line 4 or 5 times a game. He's got to be at least that guy. We can't be looking at this Game 2 or this series and say Collins is the third best player in the series. If that happens, the Bucks will lose. I think you can rely on Giannis to be a great big because that's what he is. That's why Shaq said he could take the Superman name, because he recognized, and so did you, Stephen A, he's really a big dressed up as a wing. And he'll take it strong. And Trae, we already know. What will Middleton do? Will he step up or will he fade? If he steps up, the Bucks will win. He's the most important player in Game 2.
Here's the reason I disagree with you, Max Kellerman. Jrue Holiday didn't show up and play defense. Chris Middleton shot 6 of 23 in Game 1, okay? If Trae Young doesn't have the game that he has, the Milwaukee Bucks still win this game. Everything is about Trae Young. If Trae Young explodes, Milwaukee loses. If you neutralize him, Milwaukee wins. See, Chris Middleton, we want this from him. We should demand it from him. He is in the midst of a $180 million contract, by the way. All of that's true. But even without it, you still win this game and this series if you neutralize Trae Young.
Oh.
The problem is you didn't do it in game one. The problem is Philly didn't do it for 4 games. The problem is the Knicks couldn't do it for 2 games, okay? That's the problem. You can't neutralize Trae Young. You neutralize him, you beat the Hawks.
But that's what I'm saying. You can't really, a superstar, Stephen A., usually will find out another way to hurt you. You draw a double and he'll find the open guy. Trae Young, what do you always say? Cat quick, right? You know, and can kill you a lot of different. It's not just shooting. He's a team player. And by the way, as the leader of that team, what do we constantly hear this about the team? It's a real brotherhood. These guys, we hear it from the players, we hear it from the press in the area, we hear it from their fans. These dudes love each other. They play for each other. A lot of that has to do with their leader and the way he plays. He will fill it up if he needs to. If he needs to help you another way, that's what he'll do. So I don't think that you can really neutralize Trae Young. Yes, he doesn't have to score 48 points, but he'll hurt you in other ways.
The point is who's most important. What I'm saying to you is with or without Chris Middleton, Milwaukee could win. Atlanta can't do it without Trae Young.
No, well, they can't do it without Giannis either. You know, my point is you can take for granted Giannis and Trae will play up because they are superstars. So I'm looking at everyone else who needs to step up.
But wait a minute. Giannis is around what he normally does, Max.
Yeah,
Giannis had like 34 and 12. Listen to me. Giannis is around 30 and 12, 30, 13, around that area. Trae Young is around 25. We ain't talking 48. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.